This is the second part of Lost in Shadows. Keithlyn huddled on the cold forest floor, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The first golden rays of dawn were just peeking through the thick canopy of trees, but she felt no relief. She had run blindly through the woods for hours, her only thought to escape the unknown terrors that lurked in the darkness. But now, as the first light of day returned, Keithlyn was forced to confront the reality of her situation. She was completely and utterly lost. Forcing herself to her feet, Keithlyn began to walk again, her legs shaking. She strained to remember the path she had taken, to retrace her steps, but the forest looked the same in every direction. The trees seemed to close in around her, their twisted branches like grasping fingers. As she trudged on, trying to stay calm, Keithlyn noticed something strange. Tiny, faint markings on the bark of the trees, almost like claw marks, or the remnants of some long-forgotten trail. Her heart raced as she realized they might be a clue, a sign that others had passed this way before. Spurred on by a desperate hope, Keithlyn quickened her pace, following the subtle trail. The forest floor became more uneven, the undergrowth thicker, but she pushed on, driven by the need to find her way back to safety. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Keithlyn glimpsed a familiar sight through the trees, the charred remains of her campfire. Relief flooded through her, quickly replaced by a growing sense of unease. Something wasn't right. The campsite was undisturbed, her supplies left untouched, but the air was thick with an unsettling silence. Keithlyn cautiously approached, her senses on high alert, and then she saw it, a single, enormous paw print in the soft earth, far larger than any animal she had ever encountered. A chill ran down her spine as she realized that she was not alone in these woods, and whatever had left that mark was still out there, watching her. Keithlyn's heart pounded in her chest. As she stared at the massive paw print in the dirt, her mind raced, trying to comprehend what kind of creature could have left such an enormous mark. Slowly, she backed away from the campsite, her eyes scanning the tree line for any sign of movement. The forest had been eerily silent, devoid of the usual sounds of birds and insects. Now, the stillness was almost deafening, pressing in on her from all sides. Clutching her backpack tightly, Keithlyn turned and began to hastily retrace her steps, following the faint trail markings on the trees. She knew she had to get as far away from this place as possible. Whatever had been here, it was no ordinary animal. The deeper she went into the forest, the more the sense of unease grew. Keithlyn couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, that unseen eyes were tracking her every move. Several times she thought she caught a glimpse of a dark shape between the trees, but when she whirled around, there was nothing there. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, Keithlyn's legs grew weary, but she refused to stop. The thought of resting, of letting her guard down, filled her with dread. She had to keep moving, had to get to safety. Suddenly, a thunderous crack echoed through the trees, causing Keithlyn to freeze in her tracks. It sounded like a tree, broken under immense pressure. Her breath caught in her throat as she strained to hear any other sounds, her eyes darting back and forth. And then she saw it, a massive, hulking figure emerge from the shadows, its yellow eyes gleaming with predatory intent. Keithlyn's blood ran cold as she realized the true scale of the creature, its sheer size dwarfing even the largest bear. With a primal roar that shook the very earth, the creature charged towards her, its massive claws outstretched. Keithlyn turned and fled, her legs pumping as she ran for her life, knowing that if she slowed, even for a moment, the beast would overtake her. The forest blurred around her as she ran, her only thought to escape the relentless pursuit of the monstrous creature behind her. She had to find a way out, had to get to safety, before it was too late.